Hi, so in this video about getting rent-to-rent deals from letting agents, I'm going to cover the different types of incentives that you can offer letting agents for them to be on board. There's no hard and fast rule. Different letting agents will like different things, but here's some choices that you can try and see what works for you, for your financial setup and agents in your area. The first one, nice and simple, is fee matching. Hi, Mr. Letting Agent, what fees do you get for renting that property? As a general rule, it'll be 10% of the rent. So if the rent's 600, they'll get 60 quid a month. Ask them, what fee do you get a month for that? If they tell you 60 quid, say cool, I'll match it. If you can set up this deal, I'll also give you 60 quid, standing order every month, so I'm doubling your fees for this. How does that sound? So the letting agent's then in a dichotomy. They have two options. Do they pick the normal route and get 60 quid a month, or do they pick you and at least try to get that deal through with the landlord and get double the amount of fees? So that's quite a nice deal for a letting agent. It's all up front, the landlord's not getting cut out and there's no skimming off the top. It's nice and simple, it's a deal where everybody wins. The next one is offering the landlord, the agent, a set amount of rent and saying to them, it's up to you what you then offer the landlord. So the rent might be 600, you might give them 650, they get to keep the difference, and it's up to them what they tell the landlord the rent is. I don't like doing this for two reasons. One, it's not very clear to the landlord. I don't really like doing anything whereby there's money that's not been disclosed. My rule is that if myself as a rent-to-rent person, the letting agent and the landlord is in a room and all the figures get discussed, everybody's cool, everybody's happy, there's nobody pissed off that there's skimming off the top, the agent's getting rent and not passing on to the landlord. So I don't recommend that one as such, but some agents like doing that. Second reason I don't like doing it is I don't personally pay above market rent for properties. We get access to so many rent-to-rent properties and we turn them away, so there's no way I would pay over the odds and over the market rent. If a rent-to-rent deal isn't working and I need to flip that back to a normal residential let, it needs to break even at that. I never want to be in a position where if that doesn't work for serviced accommodation and I need to put it in the rental market, I'm topping it up every month. So I would never suggest, as a general rule, paying over the market rent. So I always do 10 to 20% below. The time for void periods is taken away, so that's 10% a year, roughly. And sometimes if it's direct to landlords, you're taking the agent's fees out there at 10%, so depends who it is. That said, caveat to that, I always want the landlord to get a good deal because it needs to be a win for them, so I'm never going to batter somebody down in the rent to a level that they feel bullied into, so I'd always give fair value. And yeah, I never want to be harsh to the landlords. I want it to be a nice strong deal for them. But, and another caveat to that is if it's your first deal, you might be willing to pay above market rent for your property to get one on, to show trust. So although I wouldn't do it, it's not something I would say never do. But if you want to pay above market rent and you know the figures stack up and you're making 500 plus quid a month, then yeah, for your first deal, probably give it a go, see how it is. The next one is giving the agent a big chunk of money for helping you. So agree a fee with them. Listen, if you can get these deals through, do the negotiations on my behalf. I'll explain it fully. This is what to take to your landlord. I will give you 2, 3, 4, 500 quid. And then they get, their time is rewarded for that. They still get the management fee and they're not cut out the deal. And the big thing to dealing with letting agents is they don't want them to feel at any point in time they're going to get cut out the deal. As a letting agent, I know landlords could do it themselves. They could easily, we could find them a good tenant, they could wait till they're out of management agreement and say, you've got me a fantastic tenant, they're there for 2 years and cut us out the deal. And that's a horrible thing for any landlord to do to a letting agent, but letting agents don't want that. It's not a nice thing to happen. You've done weekend viewings, you've done everything to get a tenant, and then the landlord cuts you out the deal. So agents are very protective about this. So if they think you're going to speak to the landlord direct and end up doing it without the agent because you don't actually need the agent, then they might feel that the landlord's going to get taken. So you need to reassure them that that's not the case, and you need the agent. You want them as a middleman. You'll pay the agent the rent, and the agent still earns their crust by collecting rent and dealing with any maintenance issues. So you can pay the agent a big chunk for their time for that. The money that you pay them is totally up to you, depends how big a deal it is. 500 quid max, you need to make sure it wins for you. So if you're paying £2,000 to get a deal through, maybe unless you're in central London, that's probably 500 quid's probably a nice price for an agent to do it, unless you're in central London or somewhere else. The other one is a joint venture with the agent, and say we'll split the money. So you get a deal where you do all the work and you can split the profit that you get from them, or they can split it with the landlord, however that works. Joint ventures of this nature with the letting agents can become complicated, but it does mean you're totally 100% open and transparent with the letting agent. Whether they're open and transparent with the landlord, you might never know. But joint ventures for me, I very rarely do them, just because we can negotiate hard on the other ones, and we get more rent-to-rent deals than we can ever handle. So joint venturing with other agents and not making the maximum amount of profit and giving, 50% profit to letting agents isn't something I personally need to do. You might need to do it for your first 1 or 2 deals, but then when you get the experience, the confidence, and the chat with the agents and the links with local landlords and loads of agents, you might not need to do it. But joint venturing with them, giving them a clear profit split, being very clear on what that split is from the outset, is another good way to incentivise letting agents to do it. So 2 things to take away from this: make sure there is an incentive for the letting agent. They're not going to do it for zero work. Now, I have done it sometimes for zero work, where a letting agent, where a landlord has been in financial difficulty, and I phoned a rent-to-rent guy up and said, "Do you want a rent-to-rent deal for free?" I've done it as a favour to my long-term client who's been loyal to us. They were with us for 10 years, and I did not want to see them going bankrupt because of mortgage arrears and this. So it suited me because I looked after one of my clients, and I felt more strongly to set up that rent-to-rent deal and save that client's financial reputation in the property than getting rent-to-rent fees. So I just set that up for fee. But very, very few agents are going to do that. It's exceptional, they're going to want money for it. And 2, speak to the agent and make sure they don't feel as if they're cut out the deal. They still earn their management fee because they're collecting your rent and dealing with you, and they've set it up. So the agent needs to be reassured that they're valued, they're not going to get cut out the deal, and you're not going to go direct to landlord and steal their client.